All right, so picture this. You're hunkered down, hurricane raging outside, and suddenly, bam, your alarm system goes kaput.
Oh, no.
Not exactly the peace of mind you were hoping for, right?
Yeah, not at all.
That's what we're diving into today, folks.
Yeah.
How to make sure your security system can weather any storm, literally.
Important stuff.
We've got this in-depth article all about disaster-proofing alarm systems.
Okay.
And while it's geared towards businesses, a lot of the insights are super relevant for anyone.
Right. Makes sense.
Even if you're just protecting your own home.
Exactly.
Hey, before we continue, remember to subscribe to stay informed. So why should you care about this, even if hurricanes aren't exactly a daily concern?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
We're seeing more and more extreme weather events these days, right?
For sure.
From floods to wildfires to, even hurricanes. And a standard alarm system just isn't built to withstand that kind of chaos.
Right.
They rely on the power grid wired connections,
Yeah.
things that can go down in an instant when Mother Nature throws a tantrum.
Makes sense. And this article doesn't hold back on the what-ifs. They talk about floodwaters shorting out control panels.
Oh, yeah.
Strong winds knocking down sensors. It's like a disaster movie waiting to happen.
Right, and it's not just about the physical damage either.
Oh, that's true.
A compromised alarm system means your security is gone.
Right.
Which is exactly what someone looking to take advantage of a chaotic situation wants.
Yeah, so it's not just about protecting your stuff. It's about knowing you're truly safe, even when things get crazy.
Absolutely.
Makes you realize how vulnerable those standard systems really are.
Exactly. That's why building in resilience is key.
Yeah.
And that starts with thinking about backup power.
Okay.
No grid.
Uh-huh.
No problem.
So we're talking batteries, solar generators?
All of the above.
Where do you even begin with choosing the right backup?
Well,
I'm guessing each has its own pros and cons.
you got it. Batteries are your first line of defense. They kick in right away when the power goes out.
Right.
But they do need regular checkups and eventually need replacing them.
Makes sense.
Solar panels are fantastic for the long haul.
Uh-huh.
Sustainable and cost-effective in the long run.
Yeah.
But they're a bigger investment up front.
Sure.
And not ideal everywhere, especially if you don't get a lot of sunshine.
Yeah.
And then there are generators, which pack a punch in terms of power.
Okay.
But they need fuel. Can be noisy and might not be suitable for everyone.
So it's almost like building a mini power grid for your alarm system, making it self-sufficient.
Exactly. You want redundancy. Even if one power source fails, you've got another one ready to go.
Right.
And speaking of redundancy, let's not forget communication.
Right. Landlines are usually the first to go in a storm.
Oh, for sure.
So that's where wireless and cellular connectivity come in, right? You need that signal to get out, especially to your monitoring center.
Absolutely. Think of it like this. Your alarm system is trying to call for help,
Okay.
but the phone lines are down. Cellular backup is like giving it a cell phone so it can still make that call no matter what.
Yeah. Okay, that makes the whole layers of communication thing crystal clear. So we've got power and communication covered. What about the actual hardware itself?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be tough to withstand the elements, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're talking weather resistant, everything, sensors, cameras, wiring.
Yeah.
These things need to be built like tanks. There's this incredible new sensor technology using...
Hold on. Before you go full tech spec on us, maybe paint a picture for our listener.
All right.
How about a real-world analogy?
Okay, imagine this. You wouldn't go hiking in a blizzard wearing flimsy sneakers, right? You need those sturdy boots built for rough terrain. That's what we're talking about here. Alarm system hardware that can handle rain, wind, whatever Mother Nature throws at it.
That's a great way to put it. Makes total sense. And I'm guessing remote monitoring plays a big role here too, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're evacuated and can't physically check on your property.
You hit the nail on the head. Remote monitoring is all about peace of mind.
Okay.
You can check in from anywhere, see what's happening, even control certain functions all through your phone or computer. Imagine you've had to evacuate. Being able to keep an eye on your property remotely would be invaluable, right?
No kidding. It's like having an extra set of eyes even when you're miles away. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Backup, power communication, tough, hardware, remote access. It's making me realize that alarm systems are about way more than just stopping burglars these days.
That's right. It's about preparing for anything. And this article actually highlights a study by the International Labor Organization that found early warning systems can reduce damage from disasters by 30%.
Wow.
Just with 24 hours notice.
30%? That's huge.
Yeah.
Just from knowing what's coming.
Exactly. And that's where alarm systems come in. They can be a vital part of that early warning system, especially with features like weather alerts and remote monitoring. So you're not just protecting your property, you're potentially lessening the overall impact of the event.
So we're not just reacting to the storm, we're getting ahead of it.
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
It really is. It's about shifting your mindset from just security to thinking about your alarm system as part of a larger disaster preparedness plan.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
It really is a whole new way of thinking about security, isn't it?
Totally. It's like we spend so much time worrying about the what-ifs of everyday life.
Right.
But when it comes to Mother Nature, we tend to just cross our fingers and hope for the best.
It's true. But the good news is even small steps can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So let's say someone's listening to this and they're ready to take action. What's the first thing they should do?
Yeah, where do you even begin with disaster-proofing your alarm system?
Well, the first step is taking stock of what you already have.
Oh,
What kind of backup power do you have, if any?
Right.
Is it still reliable? Do you have wireless or cellular backup for communication? Are your sensors and cameras built to withstand the elements? Ask yourself those questions.
And I'm guessing a call to your alarm installer wouldn't hurt either, right?
Absolutely.
They can probably give you some personalized advice based on your specific system and where you live.
They're the experts, after all.
Yeah.
They can help you spot any vulnerabilities and recommend the best upgrades or solutions.
You know, this article also emphasizes the importance of communication and education.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just about the tech itself. It's about making sure everyone in the house knows how to use the system.
Right.
And what to do in an emergency.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
You could have the most high-tech alarm system in the world.
Right.
But if no one knows how to operate it or what to do when it goes off,
Exactly.
it's basically useless.
It's like having a fire extinguisher,
Right.
but not knowing where it is or how to use it.
Exactly. So make sure everyone in your household who might need to use the alarm system is familiar with how it works. Have a fire drill for your security system, you know.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Practice what you do in different scenarios.
Makes sense.
And have a solid communication plan. Who needs to be contacted if the alarm goes off? How will you reach them if the phones are down? These are all things you want to figure out ahead of time.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about the human element too, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Precisely. And speaking of being prepared, documentation is key.
Okay.
Make sure you have all the essential information about your system written down somewhere safe and easily accessible.
Right.
Things like model numbers, serial numbers, contact information for your installer and monitoring company.
Got it.
All that stuff can be a lifesaver if you need to make repairs or replace equipment after a disaster.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget about those details when you're in a panic.
Right.
Speaking of which, the article also mentions insurance.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Seems obvious, but it's worth reminding people to double check their coverage, right?
Absolutely. Make sure your policy covers damage from various extreme weather events,
Okay.
including things like flooding, wind damage, fire, you know. You want to be protected on all fronts. You never know what Mother Nature might throw your way.
Right. It's all about minimizing risk, taking those precautions, so that if and when disaster strikes, you're as ready as you can be.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about protecting your physical possessions.
Yeah.
It's about protecting your peace of mind as well.
Oh.
Knowing you've taken the right steps can make a world of difference in how you cope with a stressful situation.
That's so true. It's about feeling confident and in control, even when everything around you feels chaotic.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our system prepped, our family's in the loop, insurance is sorted, but what happens when a disaster actually hits?
Right.
What should our listener do in the thick of it?
Well, the most important thing is to stay safe.
Right.
Your personal safety always comes first. Don't put yourself in harm's way to check on your alarm system or anything else.
No argument there.
Yeah.
No property is worth risking your life for.
Exactly. Once you're in a safe place, then you can start thinking about your alarm system. If you have remote monitoring, check in on it and see if it's functioning properly. If you have any concerns, contact your monitoring company or installer right away. And another important tip, document any damage, especially for insurance purposes.
Okay.
Take photos or videos of anything that's been affected, both your property and the alarm system itself.
Good point. It's easy to forget about those things in the heat of the moment.
Right, but having that documentation can help you file a claim and get things back in order much faster.
Makes sense.
So to recap, prioritize your safety check on your system remotely if you can contact your alarm company if needed and document any damage.
Got it. So even after the initial crisis has passed, there's still work to be done. You might need to make repairs, replace equipment, or even rethink your entire disaster preparedness strategy based on what you learned from the experience.
You got it. It's a constant process of learning and adapting, especially as the climate keeps changing and we see more of these extreme weather events.
That's a really good point. The world is changing, and the way we approach security needs to change along with it. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like I've learned so much about the importance of disaster preparedness, not just for businesses, but for everyone.
I'm glad to hear that. It's a topic that deserves more attention, and we've really only scratched the surface here.
Definitely. And it's something I'm going to be thinking about more carefully moving forward. You know, it's not just about those big dramatic disasters we see on the news. Even something as simple as a power outage can really disrupt your life and potentially compromise your security.
That's a great point. It's about being prepared for anything big or small. And it's not about living in fear. It's about taking control and feeling empowered to face whatever challenges come your way.
I love that. It's about being proactive rather than reactive, taking charge of your own safety and security. What about you out there listening? Have you given any thought to how you would handle a situation like this? What are your biggest concerns? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
It's always fascinating to hear different perspectives and approaches, you know?
Yeah.
We can all learn from each other's experiences, especially when it comes to something as important as safety and preparedness.
Absolutely. And speaking of learning, this article touches on something I find really exciting: the role of new technologies in making alarm systems even more resilient.
Oh, yeah.
It's like we've come so far from those basic sirens, haven't we?
Oh, for sure. There's some really cool stuff happening right now. One area that I'm particularly interested in is AI-driven weather monitoring.
Oh, wow.
Imagine an alarm system that can actually anticipate severe weather events based on real-time data and adjust its settings accordingly. Talk about proactive.
Whoa, that's next level. It's not just reacting to the storm, it's like outsmarting it. What else is on the horizon?
Well, battery technology is another area that's constantly evolving. We're seeing batteries that are more reliable, longer lasting, and can hold more charge.
Right.
And of course, the Internet of Things is a game changer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's opening up all sorts of possibilities for connectivity and remote monitoring, allowing your alarm system to seamlessly integrate with other smart devices in your home.
It's like alarm systems are becoming part of this bigger, interconnected web of smart devices that are all working together to keep us safe and informed.
Exactly.
It's almost like having a little digital guardian angel watching over your house.
Exactly. And it's that interconnectedness that makes all the difference, because it's not just about having the latest and greatest technology.
Right.
It's about how that technology is integrated and used as part of a comprehensive system.
So it's about having a holistic approach to disaster preparedness, right? Thinking about all the pieces of the puzzle and how they fit together.
You nailed it. It's not just about the individual components.
Yeah.
It's about creating a truly resilient and adaptable system that can handle whatever comes its way. And, you know, another interesting point this article brings up is the importance of partnerships.
Partnerships, you mean like between the alarm companies and who?
Well, think about it. When a major disaster strikes, everyone is affected, right?
Yeah.
Power companies, emergency services, repair crews, everyone is scrambling to respond.
Right.
So it makes a lot of sense for alarm installers to have strong relationships with these other key players.
Right, because it's a team effort, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Getting things back to normal as quickly as possible.
Exactly. By coordinating with local electricians, technicians, and emergency responders, alarm companies can ensure that repairs and restorations happen more efficiently.
Oh, okay.
That's like having a pre-established network of support ready to go when you need it most.
And having those connections in place beforehand is crucial.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't want to be scrambling to find help in the middle of a crisis.
Exactly.
So we've talked about technology, communication, collaboration. It sounds like disaster preparedness really does take a village.
It does.
It's not just about individual responsibility. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together.
I couldn't agree more. We need to support each other, share information, and work together to create more resilient communities.
I love that. Hey, before we continue, remember to subscribe to stay informed. And speaking of community, it's always great to hear from our listeners. What are your thoughts on all this? What steps are you taking to prepare for extreme weather? Share your experiences and insights in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
That's a great way to wrap things up.
Yeah.
It's not just about listening to this deep dive and then forgetting about it. It's about taking action and making a difference.
So true. We'll leave you with this final thought. What one thing will you do differently after this deep dive to feel more prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way? Maybe it's checking your insurance coverage. Maybe it's talking to your alarm installer. Maybe it's just having a conversation with your family about your emergency plan. Whatever it is, take that first step.
Because even small actions can have a big impact.
Absolutely. And remember, we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
So let's support each other, learn from each other, and build a more resilient future for everyone.
If you're enjoying these podcasts, make sure to subscribe. Thanks once again.